Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Today's video is going to be me showing you what my go-to base products have been and why I've been reaching for them. I don't know if this is interesting for you or not, but I thought on the off chance you were wondering, I would just do a quick video. I don't use all of the products in this video that I choose between. It'll all make sense. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what I've been doing and what I've been liking, and maybe you've been doing similar, or maybe you were like, oh, that's a great idea. Or you could even be like, no way, Hoseby, not happening, not for anything ever. Thank you, goodbye. So that is the gist of the video. I guess we'll just get into it. I'm about to have a very naked face. Brace yourself. Okay, so we are talking about my base makeups for the summer. This might seem a little bit in-depth and complicated, but I promise it's really not. I start every day with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Water Powder Serum. I really like this, more as a skincare kind of a thing than a mattifying. If I'm doing my face in the morning and it has to last me all day, I go in with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Powder Balm thingy on my T-zone, period. Like, I just always do. But if I'm just fiddle with farting around and having a good time with makeups, I tend to not waste it. So on the days that I'm not using the Danessa Myricks, I have been going right in with this concealer. This isn't something I have done in previous years, but I bought the Sephora Best Skin Ever Glow concealer for my full face of Sephora products, and this is not something I can use on my under eyes, but I have found that it makes a really, really nice no foundation. I mean, people who say no foundation, they're using other things. They're just not using liquid foundation, and I don't want to waste this, so I thought I could use it as, you know, my not foundation. And I really like the way it goes on. I like the way it wears. It's been really nice. So I just pat it in with a sponge. Nothing too super, you know, intense. But with a concealer type product, you're going to get just a little bit more coverage than not, because I've been using powder foundation, which you probably didn't realize because I haven't said that part yet. But yeah, so without some kind of base, the powder foundation just lacks a little bit, because I want a little more evening of my skin tone. I could easily just go out with this and be totally, absolutely fine. But I'm going to use a powder foundation as well because I'm oily. Now, for my under eyes, I have to doctor a concealer. My favorite concealer right now is the Good Apple and the Wet n Wild Incognito. I think the Wet n Wild Incognito is going away. You can't get it on Ulta. You can't get it on Wet n Wild. You can get it on Amazon and Walmart. And I haven't received the new Juvia's Place one yet because that looks amazing. So I've been mixing in just a little bit of the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Nude in shade 3 with my concealer. That way my concealer is not quite so stark on my under eye. And I don't really need a lot. I just like a little bit for a little coverage and a little brightening, but nothing too crazy. Use my finger to mix it, so I'm just gonna pat it on and clean my finger off. I picked up the new brushes from Rephr. These are in the concept store. There were 2 to try out. This little, I'm assuming, concealer one. I tried the last ones that they did because these are synthetic bristles. I did not like the concealer brush from the last set they tried. So I picked up this one thinking it's probably better because they take feedback from the community and run with it. And I gotta say, I really, really like this one a lot more than the originals. And then I'm just going to place a little bit over my darkest dark spots, just for a little bit more coverage. And then take a little bit on my nose. My rosacea is under control. Like, I don't think my texture is good. Everything's looking pretty darn good, but I'm still red. So I like a little bit more coverage around my nose. And then I'll just boop over the spots I covered. This brush is fantastic. I don't know if they're going to keep it or what they're doing, but I really like that one. So next I go over all of the concealer parts with a powder. I ordered this off the Zon. Fash Fab did a video on like her Amazon picks for Prime Day, and little refillable powder compacts were on her list, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have that Too Faced loose powder that's almost gone, but I'm having a hard time getting the product out. So I picked up a 2-pack. This is one of the 2, and it's the smaller one. It comes with this little cheesy puff, but it's refillable. The white part opens and you can put powder in, and it's lovely. So I definitely think this is excellent, and I thank Fash for that idea, because boy howdy, that was brilliant. Then I've been going in with my freckle pens. So I had this one and I like it. I also have the other 2 other ones, but I can't get the darn covers off because, you know, really weak. So I bought these chubby ones off the Zon, and they're much easier to open. And the felt tip pen style top is very similar, except that this one doesn't have quite the rounded end like the other one does. So I have just been booping in. I mean, it's like a super random, there's no rhyme or reason to how I apply my freckles. I just kind of do whatever and layer them with lighter and darker and just keep applying them until they look the way I want them to, which admittedly does take a little while because I kind of go slow and figure out what needs to go where. Now I'm gonna go in with the skinny one that I can open. I don't know if you can see, there's like a little almost flattened ball at the end. And it just makes for nice, irregular freckles. The other pen that I have, the other chubby one, is darker, and I think it's great. I do definitely recommend, if you're gonna do faux freckles, to have a couple different shades. I wish I had one that was a bit more warm tone, because I think freckles are predominantly warm, and though these aren't exactly cool, I think a little bit warmer would be good. So I'm just going to continue booping these on, literally like boop, 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 boop. And because they are freckles and they're supposed to be super irregular, unless you accidentally draw like a straight line, it's really easy to do. Now this is the darkest one. So this one I tend to be a bit more careful and use it as my like moles or my bigger freckles, and then just super lightly. And now I will go back in with the first one and just keep layering them on. I found that, in my opinion, this is how they look the best. It's just really going in as many times as necessary, booping back and forth. Because, you know, I don't want to look foolish, or more foolish than I'm comfortable with. Let's be honest, I don't mind looking a little bit foolish. Just a couple random ones. Sometimes because the powder's on, the pen stops wanting to work as well. So I just wipe it off on a wipey and we're back in business. So I think I'm going to leave them there for now. Again, they might be looking a little bit weird. Don't fret, we still have all of the face powders to go. But I like to get these on before I go in with bronzer and foundation, powder, and all of that. So that brings us to foundation powder. And I have a couple. This is my lightest one, which I like for just a little bit, just over my T-zone. I've already powdered here with the translucent powder, but I don't know. I feel like I need a little bit more. It's got a tiny bit of coverage. And then I have a couple of options. I have the Sephora Micro Smooth Powder in 30 Sand Light Neutral. I have a Juvia's Place one. I have I think that's it. I think I've used up all the other ones. This one is actually, it looks light, but it is a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. So it actually, sometimes I like the brush, sometimes I like a velour puff. So let me show you the velour puff. It looks a lot darker applied with this, which I think is what I need because I have quite a decent tan going. I really like to pat this one on. See the difference between that cheek and this cheek. And then of course I just keep going and going and going and going. But putting it on with a velour puff is a bit time consuming because you have to keep dipping back in to the powder. But I do think it's worth it. So those are the two powders that I've been using. Again, maybe it's a little bit high maintenance, but I feel like if I just use the darker one, it looks too stark. I don't know. It could just be all my imagination. That's entirely possible. I should mention, some days I will go in with cream products first before I add the powder. So I did pull out a cream bronzer. I have just the one Huda Tantour in the shade Light, and I grabbed out a cream blush to show you. Any cream blush or bronzer would definitely work. I really like this under powder foundation. I think it looks really nice. I think it wears really nice. And if you're going for more natural looking makeup, putting the creams on under the powder definitely helps to achieve that. I am not generally looking for natural looking makeup, so I typically will then go over with powder products. So let me show you what I have chosen out. It's anyone's guess what bronzer I'm going to want to use. I shop my stash every time I do makeup for face products. And today I picked the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Bronzer in the shade 350 Medium. This time of year, I am quite a bit darker, and I'm using my Refer number 5 face brush because it's bigger than the number 4, and I'm using a lot more bronzer this time of year, and I like to take it everywhere I put the faux freckles. I really like it over my nose. You know, if I let the sun touch my face, this is where it would, you know, give me the most color. And I just think it looks really cute and healthy. I like it a lot. So I just keep adding bronzer until I like how it looks. I've even been going up under my bangs because, you know, you can still see through my paper thin bangs. And funny enough, if you have an oily forehead, powdering your forehead, even just with a translucent powder, will help keep your bangs from getting oily. I've been powdering my forehead every morning because oily T-zone, and I want to keep my bangs from being oily and oogie. So now we are up to blush, and I picked 2 NYX blushes. I have been wearing lots of different blushes lately, and I figured out that blushes that I like but aren't like amazing make really good blending out blushes. We're not doing that today because I picked 2 NYX blushes, but the REM Beauty blush barely shows up on me, but it's really nice for blending out a darker blush or ombreing it. And I have the NARS Gaiety powder blush, and that barely shows up on me, but it looks really good with another blush. So the 2 blushes I'm wearing today are both from NYX. We have number 8 in the lineup, Getting Butter, which is the Shimmering Rose shade, and number 11 in the lineup, Deep Raspberry. So I thought with the eyes, these 2 would be really pretty. I've been playing with these blushes like a lot. So I'm fairly comfortable with them now. Watch, I'll say that and then, you know, do something ridiculous. But this e.l.f. blush brush is a gorgeous brush for applying blush. That's a lot of brushes. Nisha turned me on to this brush and it is fantastic. Even with a blush that doesn't really want to show up, this brush encourages the blush to do what you want it to. Man, that was a lot. But look how pretty that looks. I just love it so much. Oh. And then we can take the Shimmering Rose shade, same brush, and I like to bring that one down and up. Up here to blend out and down here, even up under the eyes on the outer corner. I just think it looks really smooth and pretty. Look at that. I just love blush so much. I know not everyone does, and that's fine. You are absolutely allowed to love and not love anything you want. But so am I. Did any of you catch the comment in one of my videos? I think it was the video where I was trying these blushes on, or maybe it was the Unearthly. I can't remember. I was trying on blushes and someone commented, I can't fathom why you're putting blush up that high. So, being me, I went back and explained why I apply blush as high as I do, as close to my eye as I do, all the reasons I think that it works for me or anyone of a certain age. And, you know, I of course offer to do a whole video on it if she thought that would be helpful. I didn't hear back from her though, so there's that. Okay, now I'm just going to buff over a little bit with the brush I use for buffing. And that is pretty much that. So let me go off camera, wrap up the eyes, get my lips done, all the things, and I'll come back and we'll finish this. All right, that is everything for my face. I've clearly finished my eyes, whacked on a lipstick, and I did put on a highlight. Any highlighter will do. I'm using the Nikia Joy Illuminate palette and the shade Gleam. It's pretty, very pretty actually. Nikia Joy makes really, really good makeup, that's for sure. But I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it again. Makes me cranky and I don't want to be cranky. So hopefully this was maybe a little bit helpful for you. I am curious if you've been doing any of these things or if your summer makeup looks the same as your winter makeup. I think mine mostly does. I mix up my makeups all the time. Sometimes I'm into a full coverage foundation that blanks out everything. Sometimes I'm into a powder foundation, which gives you very little coverage. Sometimes, I don't know. I guess it just depends on my mood. I really wanted to use up this concealer so as to not waste it. And I do genuinely like how it looks on my face. I won't repurchase it because it's a teeny tiny little component for my big old face, and my face is not big. But since I have it and I can't use it under my eyes, I'm really enjoying it as a quote-unquote foundation. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful or you enjoyed hanging out with me. I know not everyone does all of the base steps. Shaz, I'm looking at you, kid. But maybe it was entertaining hanging out with me anyway. Hopefully it was. If it was, give this video a thumbs up. And if not, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.